Hey everybody, Guy here from Chit Chat. Thank you so much for continuing to listen. I just got done recording a very fun and very unique to me podcast. Our guest today was Tommy Mayhew. Tommy has been a friend now for a number of years, and he was a team member on the Switchboard and the Kinder team. And Tommy, about a year ago, left our little world here and went to Colorado to go start his own creative ad agency. And it has been so fun as Tommy has come back a couple times over the year just to hear little snippets and little pieces of kind of what they're working on and some of the problems and things that they're bumping into. I know it well, and so it's been fun to just kind of have a front row seat kind of at what he's doing and what he's trying to grow. I'm cheering for him and rooting for him, and I'm excited for you to meet him. One fun little thing about Tommy. Tommy is maybe the oldest soul that I know. Ryan Chef, who one of my very best friends and business partners, we're the same age. And so like at work, we're making jokes like for each other. Like there might be a whole bunch of people there, but like I'm saying a little joke. It's some reference from like our childhood, which is the late 80s and early 90s. I'm saying it for Ryan. I just want to get a chuckle out of my buddy, and there'll be lots of other people there. And Tommy, when he joined when he came, he was probably like 18 maybe. And I slowly realized Tommy is chuckling at all of the jokes that are just meant for Ryan. He's just an old soul and really, really fun guy, and it's super fun conversation. So thanks for listening. Thanks for continuing to be a part of our little growing community here at Chit Chat. We sure appreciate it. Thanks, buddy. Tommy, thanks for coming and joining us on the podcast. Really great to have you with us.
It's great to be here with you.
Okay, so in a second, I'm gonna have you just kind of like introduce yourself, but I've known Tommy for a bit because Tommy came and worked for us starting a number of years ago. First at Kinder in relationship to our roasting, and helped a lot with our roasting program. And then most recently, he worked at Switchboard as a photographer and videographer, and just kind of in general on our creative team. I've known Tommy for quite a while now, but Tommy's he's head off into the world, and so we're going to talk today just about some of the things that he's doing and the neat things that he's putting his hand to. So yeah, maybe Tommy, just like tell us a little bit more about who you are and what are you up to?
Yeah, thanks, Guy. Thanks for that intro. My name is Tommy Mayhew. I am from Central Minnesota. I grew up in Sauk Rapids, and about 8 years ago, I walked into Cooper Collective where Switchboard was at, and I wanted to like sweep the floors or something because I had an interest in the creative agency world. And I think I talked to, a couple of your co-owners that day, but nothing ever came of it, which was totally fine. But that was just kind of, I was a high school kid who was interested in kind of the creative field. And then fast forward, I think 4 years after that,
You came walking in again.
I came walking in again, and it was I interviewed with you guys to come on as head coffee roaster at a place called Kinder Coffee Lab, and then shifted over into Switchboard like probably about a year and a half later. And now, as of a year and a half ago, I am in Colorado Springs, and I'm working in that creative agency world. I co-own an agency called Ragtag, and it's been a blast. And so grateful for my foundations here.
Fun. I think when we announced that we were launching Kinder, you had reached out and just said like, "Oh, I love coffee. Could we chat coffee sometime?" And you did it in a kind of way that was gracious and kind and like mature. I don't know. It was you carried yourself really, really well. And it was like,
it's good to know.
Let's come on in. Let's chat. And then we just started talking coffee. And then I think you came to one of our early cuppings.
Yes, I did.
And
tasting.
Yeah, and we start. From there we kept having more conversations about coffee, and being reminded that there was a first round of you walking into our little world is I had forgot about that. In general, there are, we get asked a fair, a fair bit
totally.
about, people kind of learning and plugging into the system. And we get it enough that I kind of see all kinds of people that make asks, and you just carried yourself really, really well, and
Appreciate that.
obviously you were raised well, and there was a maturity and a kindness and a graciousness that you did that. And as a guy that hires people, it's just really neat when you get to see a young person who is kind of poised and mature like that. So it felt like a no-brainer to figure out a way to kind of like fold you into what we were doing.
And I'm so grateful.
Yeah,
so grateful.
It was fun to for the years that you were with us. It was really, really fun to have you there. And I mean, the guy that you were, as this is true of all of us, but the guy that you were when you started, and then the skill sets that you grew in, and the ways that you developed, and all of that stuff. Tommy's role got to shift and change inside of everything we're doing, because he kept growing and developing as a person, which was super, super fun. And then
and I think what was really cool too, though, was like Kinder Switchboard like provided that opportunity, like to be flex and to kind of chase
fun.
after what I was excited about and wanted to pursue at the same time. Creative and coffee. It's fun.
I think one of the fun things that you kind of brought to the team too, like I've been shooting film for years. And I mean, my very first camera was a film camera. My kind of first love of anything even remotely close to professional photography was in a darkroom, because I'm old enough that was still a class in college. And so I've always kind of loved film. But when you get in the digital photography kind of world, and you're churning out so much work all the time, the idea of just like pausing and slowing down and picking up something as antiquated as an old film camera, there's kind of like less margin for that. And you were at your kind of like the stage in your career and journey, not that you'll maybe ever leave that, but like just early on, just still this kind of like, you were in love, kind of enamored with like this cool old thing.
Yeah.
And I kind of like caught that again, which was so fun. Like when you came in the system, it was like, oh yeah, I should pick up these old film cameras.
Yeah, totally.
And just kind of geeking out and nerding on old cameras and stuff with you was great. And I mean, even still to this day, I shoot more film than I did before you came, after leaving film, however many years ago. If that sentence
love hearing that.
makes any sense. And then I want to talk all about Ragtag. I want to hear what you guys are up to. And but there was an interesting thing when Tommy had an opportunity to start his own thing. I remember the conversation really, really vividly, where he sat down and it was sad, hard, weird, or something. It just like, and you looked nervous, and you'd said as much, but that you were telling us that you were leaving, and that you were heading to go with your best friend, go start a creative ad agency, kind of as the photo maybe sales guy with a designer guy. And I was like, dude, I did that a decade ago. We were bummed to see you go, because we liked having you in our system and having you on our team. I mean, besides the fact that you were a great team member, you're a fun dude, fun to hang out with. And,
appreciate it.
But so excited for you that you are
Thanks, guy.
hanging a shingle and doing something. So you and Jack Hebert, Colorado Springs, you're starting you have started an agency. Tell me a little bit about how has this first year or two been? What are you guys thinking about? What are you learning? What's this process been like for you guys to start an agency?
Yeah, totally. I moved out at the end of September 2023.
Oh man.
So a year and a few months ago now. And starting Ragtag, thankfully we were blessed with a lot of connections in the city already.
That's cool.
And so it was scary to like move somewhere with no promised income and no nothing really. Yeah. But I was able to go out and had a lot of connections that, Jack had made over the years. He's lived out there for about 5 years now. And so I handle a lot of the kind of photography and operations side of things, a lot of the boring things that makes a business run. We've been able to grow in a way that has been really sweet. And I mean, there were some lean months, which of course, I mean, that's business, that's starting a business. And I think also like, creative agencies, especially too. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, so we've had the privilege of working with the city of Colorado Springs and with the U.S. Olympic Museum and Training Center, which, I mean, for those of you who don't know, Colorado Springs prides itself on being Olympic City, USA, because all the training centers and
I had no idea.
USA Basketball is headquartered there, and a bunch of different organizations. So that's been sweet, and just getting plugged into the community, like on a personal level, it's been a really cool town.
Yeah.
It's sweet because it's 750,000, the metro. Yeah. So it's big, but it feels like a small town. And the way business is kind of run, it feels like a small town. Everyone kind of knows everyone, or is one connection removed.
Sure.
And so Ragtag's been sweet. We specialize in photo, video, and graphic design. And kind of the way that's mainly packaged is as marketing campaigns.
Yeah.
We do a lot of campaign work, which has been really, really fun.
Sweet. What has been one of the things that's maybe been the most surprising over this last year of being fully self-employed?
Yeah. Over this last year, I think one of the things that has been different and interesting is having to build your own structure. When you're at an established agency and you're coming in at 8 a.m. and leaving at 5:30, and you have a project manager who's helping schedule shoots and stuff like that. You kind of just go from station to station.
Yeah.
And when you start your own
when
business,
there are no stations,
it's been a really interesting thing to create structure and to create what the day-to-day looks like of your own business, and it's a unique opportunity.
Yeah.
It's really fun. It's been really fun.
Cool. What has been one of the greatest joys that you've experienced in this past year?
I think
let's just pause really quick. There's a circus going on upstairs.
That's crazy.
Above us.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys can hear that or not, but I'll just call it out. If you are, if you can hear it and you're still listening, we say thank you. But I think that's a 3-ring circus. I think up there's elephants that are standing on those platforms, and jugglers. So
yeah,
and a trapeze artist, I think.
It took me a while to hear the trapeze artist, but I hear him now.
Yeah. It's the oohs and the ahs, kind of the gasps of the crowd. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of hearing. Anyway, joy.
Yeah. Owning my own business has been such a joy. Getting to work with some really cool clients and some really sweet people. I think that has been the biggest joy, is the connections, the people. The work's been great too. It's been fun. But at the end of the day, the reason that I got into creative marketing, for lack of a better term, is for the relationships and telling people's stories. Yeah. We've been able to tell stories in a way that I think works, and a way that makes them feel honored. And so I think for me, that's been the biggest joy. It's just, it's a little cliche, but the people have been so sweet. So sweet.
And what's been the hardest thing about starting your own business?
Everything's been hard. Nothing's been really all that easy, and and that's great. And that's what you're signing up for. I knew that's what I was signing up for. I think, along with that, kind of creating your own structure, also creating sales funnels and creating just the visual style of Ragtag. Creating the visual style of Ragtag has been difficult, but really fun. Switchboard, has a very kind of established look, in the way that photos are edited, videos look. Yep. And that's quietly a very hard thing to do. You wouldn't, if you look at a video, you don't think that an agency or whatever has put a lot of time and effort into making this video look exactly how it looks. Yeah. So I think,
and then consistently, over and
totally.
Over. Yeah.
We're a year in, and we've established a look. Yeah. But it's also constantly evolving, and so I think visual style has been something that's been unique. Of course, with all the other weird things of starting a business and legalities and whatnot. Yeah.
I think it's also an interesting thing if you're a solopreneur, right? Like it's just you all by yourself. it's just one person's aesthetic and just one person's style. But if you start like Switchboard did and like Ragtag did, where it's these two creatives that are coming together to kind of like tell these stories, there's that process of like how do the things that you're good at, how do things that I'm good at kind of like fold together. And it's a unique kind of unique process.
Yeah, it's been sweet. I mean, Jack Hebert, my business partner, is also an incredible photographer. He's really, really good. And he had kind of an established style, and I had a little bit of an established style. And so kind of finding where those two places mix in a way that's a compromise but also looks good, right, has been a blast. And so I get to explore that a little more too.
One of the neat things too about having multiple photographers in one system is, different clients have different needs, and even the same client on a different project could have a different aesthetic bent that they need for some reason. And so being able to have kind of in-house have some kind of visual options, even from something like we're showing up to take pictures, is kind of a fun thing. There were things like near the end of your time with us where your kind of creative and aesthetic voice with a camera in your hand had continued to grow and develop in a kind of way that was different and unique than mine. There were times when I was like, there were certain kinds of clients or projects that I wanted you on because I think it served the client better. There are a couple like really particular ones, maybe I won't say them, but where it was like, I can absolutely, for a decade, I've been showing up and doing photo shoots like this. But I was excited that your creative voice got to show up and be the primary, even though it was still inside of this kind of system or whatever, but for sure, some of your unique insights, through a lens of a camera got to come out for our clients. And I think they were bettered. Sweet. I think they were bettered because of that, which I think is a fun thing as you're kind of growing a team too.
So fun. And what's, I think, so unique too about that is like most of my knowledge, most of the way I see things comes from you. I for good or bad, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm trying to think,
listeners,
like, what?
It's for good.
Okay.
And you're an excellent photographer who has a lot of experience working with diverse clients. And so now I feel there's a lot of comfort when I walk into a situation, and there's not a ton of situations where I feel out of place because I've been with you on shoots with clients that are similar, and also just learned how to see the world photographically from you, which has been cool.
I mean, if that's true,
it is true.
I'm honored. I'll also say when I show up at a photo shoot, if things change rapidly, which happens all the time, like we thought this was going to be outside, it kind of needed to be outside, and now it can't be outside for some reason. So and so's not here, or just like all of these things that could like throw a wrench in a shoot. I think never rattled by that because of shooting weddings for over a decade, and I think that's a piece of it too for you. Your ability to shoot a wedding, your willingness to like dive into the wedding process. There are lots of commercial photographers who never shot weddings that look backwards at people backwards. Even I don't mean that. I'm trying to make a point because I don't actually think it's backwards. But there are people that shoot as a commercial photographer and they think of shooting weddings like it's a backwards thing. Like it's I'm gonna say this because not because I believe it, but that being a wedding photographer is like a second-rate photographer. Yeah. The people that have kind of like they've figured out how to have a career as a commercial photographer. This is kind of like the elite thing. And there is such a pretentiousness.
They're very self-satisfied. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something that's so pretentious about that thing. And a wedding is a blast. This is people's favorite day, their favorite day they've ever had. Yeah. They put on fancy clothes, they bring their favorite people, and they eat good food. And it ends with a dance and sparklers. Like just undeniably, these are really, really fun days. Yeah. So A, don't look down on people that are doing that for a career. And B, the kind of problem solving that you have to have.
Oh my goodness.
Because every wedding is so different. The location is so different. And then you start in the morning and you end at night. And so you have the entirety of where the sun is going to be in the sky that day, where you're constantly having to problem solve. And then nothing ever goes right, which is part of the rightness of shooting a wedding. And so I think my ability or willingness to not be frazzled when I'm on set somewhere by something, I think is because of over a decade of weddings and seeing you guys, like jump in and shoot these weddings. Like I think that's probably a piece of that thing that whether you maybe realize it now or know it now or not, but that I think it's just a really valuable thing that will continue to make you and push you to being, a really, really, really capable and unfrazzleable. Can I say that?
Yes.
Unfrazzleable commercial photographer.
Yeah.
Because a wedding day doesn't let you do any of that.
Right. And it all only happens once.
Yeah.
That's the
you
thing.
You can
like,
go back for
there
most
is no
commercial
second
shoots.
first kiss.
Yeah. You can go back for most commercial things. If something terrible happened, you can go backwards.
And to be a good wedding photographer, you need to be a product photographer. You're shooting flat lays of rings and dresses and stuff like that. Your documentary, portrait. So I think it was a good trial by fire to get in. And
Well, cool. Story is the driving force for us here at Switchboard. Story is also the reason that Chit Chat exists. We tell stories of the people around us through photos, videos, branding, and websites. Story helps us find meaning and it draws a community together. And we would love to help tell your story. You can find us at www.switchboard.mn. We would love to meet you. We'd love to talk with you and learn more about the story that you are trying to tell and how our story-driven marketing tools can help you communicate better. Can't wait to talk to you soon.
Yeah.
You guys are knocking on the door of being done with year one.
Yeah.
In the books, in the rearview mirror.
Yeah.
Awesome. As you're looking ahead for year two, what are you most excited about?
Man, we have some really fun clients that we get to work with in year two of Ragtag. And that's something that is really sweet and exciting. And it's not something that, I don't know, when you get into this, like you hope you're going to work with fun clients.
Yeah.
And to be able to actually work with fun clients is really, really cool.
Yeah.
Not that there are unfun clients, but there are also clients that are just more fun by nature of what they do, right?
Yeah.
And so we are able to work with a lot of really cool people and cool clients. And I think what's been sweet is in year one, especially at the beginning of year one, you're kind of figuring out, okay, what are we going to be? Like, who are we going to be? Are we going to be a factory for a bunch of ads that, are going to live on Google banners and stuff like that? And that's awesome. Or are we going to, make short form Instagram Reels content, or are we going to do long documentary type films? And yes, right. In year one, you have no idea.
Yeah.
And in year one, we built some websites, and while a great experience, we realized that wasn't exactly what we wanted to be doing. So, in being able to pivot a little bit, that's sweet. And I think those are the things that you learn by doing them. Yeah. And realizing like, oh, I love doing this, and this provides value to the client and to, you're running a business, and to us as a business. Or, well, maybe that isn't quite what we should be doing.
Yeah. There's for sure value in some of those projects, taking them on and realizing, I don't know if I want to do work like this anymore. Yeah. That might be as valuable or more valuable than landing the very best client.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you get to learn a lot about yourself. Right. You get to learn a lot about your business.
And I'm 24. I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah, that's so good.
Yeah, I have so much to learn.
Yeah, that's so good. There's something great about not just an agency, but any sort of business, early stage business. There's a kind of nimbleness, I think, that
totally
is kind of required, because you don't know, like you just said, you don't know what you don't know, and you jump in and you think you kind of know the industry, or you think you know the product, and then you jump in and you touch it in a professional, really serious kind of way, and the learning curve is often really, really steep. Right. And so if you're unwilling to hold it loosely kind of and move with it, it'll probably kill you.
Yeah, totally.
And then once your business grows, the natural nature of being nimble kind of leaves. As your team gets bigger and the systems kind of get robust and established, your ability to naturally be nimble kind of goes away. But that's when you should mentally try to stay really sharp and be
that's good.
And hold everything really open-handed and be like, the systems are all in place. And do I like this system? Is this is this still what we want to do? And even if the ship turns a little slower, just being willing to do that, I think is a really good and valuable thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's been great.
Yeah.
And I think Switchboard, if I had started Ragtag without 3 years at Switchboard beforehand, I would have had no idea what I was doing. But, thanks to being in a system and being in an agency that's, successful and making really cool work for cool people, I was able to learn a little bit, and hopefully that learning curve wasn't quite as steep.
Yeah.
But I'm still on that learning curve, and
I mean,
everyone is, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
But
That's an exciting thing. If your involvement at Switchboard could help you
totally.
just cut out some of the time, in some of that early stage stuff, that's a really cool thing. Makes me super, super happy. Yeah. Okay, so one of my best friends from high school lives in Colorado Springs, and so when you were heading out there, that was kind of like a fun little thing. He is in the Space Force, which is a real thing. Yeah. And he said his neighborhood is like 50% military, which is unique. Or it felt crazy to me because in Central Minnesota we don't have that kind of military presence.
Yeah, totally.
In relationship to your work and Ragtag, have you guys been a part of any of the any sort of military work?
Yeah, we've done a little bit. It's a unique and fun challenge. And it's, one thing that's interesting though is Colorado Springs is like a really sprawling town. And geographically, and our office is right downtown. And on the north end of town, you have the Air Force, and on the south end, you have the Army. There's a Army base there as well. And kind of in the middle where we are, there isn't nearly as much of that industry around military, which is interesting.
Yeah.
It's very they're very tied to the the Air Force Academy, all the military adjacent companies are really close to the Air Force Academy or really close to the Army base, and they don't, cross pollinate.
Come to the
much.
middle. Yeah. Tom, I think one thing that's interesting, the majority of the people that we've had on the podcast, everybody to a certain extent, I think, they're all still in Central Minnesota.
Totally.
I guess some of the people we've talked to, they are transplants. They're in Central Minnesota now, but they spent time outside it. Some of them really formative years, not in Central Minnesota.
Right.
And so I kind of love their perspective just because all I know is Central Minnesota. I was, I think, 6 maybe when we moved to St. Cloud, and that was from Wilmer. And so all I know is Central Minnesota. And even, I spent time in the cities for school and whatnot, but I was still a Central Minnesota kid just living in the metro. So I love hearing the perspective of people that are new to our community as they kind of think about who we are.
Totally.
You have kind of the inverse of that in that you are a Central Minnesota kid, born and raised, and you've left a year ago.
Yeah.
You hopped in a plane and you went. And now from this kind of vantage point, what do you maybe miss about Central Minnesota? What do you have a perspective or an insight on kind of who we are in relationship to this kind of new community that you get to interact with every day?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I lived in Central Minnesota from the time I was born till I was 23. I graduated from St. Cloud State, and so I don't know. I just feel I never left really.
Yeah.
And now living in Colorado, I think Central Minnesota, it's a special place. It's a unique place. And I don't know if to people who are from here, they would feel that way instantly. Maybe they would. Maybe they would have the self-awareness to realize what a unique and sweet place it is. But I think Central Minnesota, there's a care for their family. And there's a care for doing the right thing in a way that, exists other places. But there's also just I don't know, there's a sweetness to the St. Cloud area, which I think, maybe some of it is rose-tinted glasses, looking back.
Missing home.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from here. I'm proud to be from here.
Yeah.
But Central Minnesota is, I think there are a lot of people who are quietly trying to do really cool things here. Colorado Springs is a city of transplants. And one thing I've noticed about being in a transplant city like Colorado Springs, yes, there's a lot of people who are there, who've been there for a long time, but there's also a lot of new people. I mean, is that the place kind of changes and it grows and it gets a little bit different. And maybe the cultural identity of it is watered down as time goes on. And Minnesota generally is a pretty like sticky state. Like people who are from here, it has one of the highest rates of like people who are from here stay here, and they
Then
love
why'd you leave,
it.
Tommy?
I know. I'm bucking the trend, I guess. And I think there's a level of ownership that comes with being from a place and living there.
Yeah.
Your whole life. And I think that's part of what, caused you to want to create Switchboard here in central Minnesota is that you wanted to build something special that was by central Minnesota for central Minnesota. And I think in a lot of ways, like that exists in a lot of places here. It's people who are from here who want to do cool things for central Minnesota. And that creates a culture that is kind of quietly, like in a very like stoic central Minnesotan way, like a place of opportunity, which is cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun. Well, it's really sweet. Tommy, thanks for coming and joining us on the podcast.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
This
is sweet.
A really, really fun podcast. Fun to have you on. And best of luck as you continue to
Appreciate it.
Hang your shingle and try to make something unique and special with your buddy. Super, super fun. We close every podcast with an unpaid ad.
Okay.
Do you have someone or something or some idea that you think deserves a little shout out today?
I do. I actually have it with me.
Do you?
Yeah. I'll be right back.
This is a first, guys. We're a lot of episodes in. It's a camera, maybe? Here we go. This is a first, a prop.
This is a Rolly 35 SE.
Whoa.
And it is, as we talked about, I love shooting film.
You're such a nerd.
I'm a dork. And this is the third of that camera that I've had.
Oh, yeah? Where are the first two?
I sold them. And then immediately after I sell them,
You feel terrible.
I feel terrible and I go buy another one. And so I have promised myself and my wife Sammy that I will not sell this one. And so it's a camera with a fixed 40 millimeter lens inside photography baseball right there. But and it's beautiful. I mean, the lenses are really, really sharp, and I love them.
Fun.
And, so I can recommend them with 2 thumbs up.
Where could someone go to see a picture that was taken on this lovely little camera?
Oh man, I think. Well, this one's actually a brand new one because it's not brand new. It's new to me.
Yeah.
But I on my Instagram page
Which is?
at Tommy's TOMMYS .film FILM. At Tommy's Film. So I have pictures that have been taken with other iterations of this camera.
Cool.
On there. But I love it. It's sweet. It's little. I can carry it with me and
That's
everywhere I
wonderful.
go. Yeah.
That's cool. Okay, my unpaid ad for the day is an absolutely dorky fantasy series called Mistborn. One of my best friends from college has put me on to the Mistborn series. Actually, all books by a guy by the name of Brandon Sanderson. I mean, we're talking like super nerd kind of stuff.
Okay.
And they're so good. They're so good. I've read 4 books now by Brandon Sanderson, and my favorite were these 3 called the Mistborn trilogy. He does world building. If you're kind of a nerdy either game or book or movie kind of person, it's just world building is just like how well can you construct the world that your characters are in so that when they do things, it kind of makes sense. And even as you unfold new things, the world that you've built, it kind of makes sense in it. And so it's easier for a reader to kind of like jump on into it. So
sweet.
Mistborn, they're really, really good books. And I would recommend them or commend them to you, Brandon Sanderson.
I've been recommended them like 3 times.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, now it's time.
And now that I have the Gaetano Magno
Stamp
of approval.
Stamp of approval.
I should, because I'm also a fellow dork.
Yeah. Good. All right. Well, Mr. Mayhew, thanks for coming on the podcast.
Thanks
Really
for having
appreciate
me.
it.